Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. We are live this evening here on the huddle. And tonight we want to get into the discussion and addressing the concern of the issue that you have as a new content creator where you want to start your first live stream show or your first podcast, and you're not sure how to start and get out of the gate. Well, tonight we want to share some important tips, 5 tips on how to get you started out of the gate in launching your live stream, your podcast show, and we're starting right now. Praise the Lord, everyone. Welcome to The Huddle. I'm your host, Walter Strong, where it's our goal to help working class content creators like yourself to grow your channel, get more views, and make money online. And as we said tonight, we're going to get into 5 important tips on helping you how to launch your live stream or podcast show for the first time. And so if you're new here tonight, let me know in the chat where you're watching me from. Give me a hashtag Team Live in the chat. And if you're watching the replay of this episode, give me a hashtag Team Replay in the comments section. So without further ado, let's get into the content on helping you how to launch your live stream show or podcast that you want to be able to have on YouTube as part of your YouTube channel. As you look at the landscape of content creation in the platform of YouTube, we see a lot of content creators doing live streaming. Live streaming as a form of sharing their content and building community and being able to try to connect with an audience and sharing the content that they have that is part of their value proposition, sharing that as a part of the goal of their channel so that they can build and make a deeper connection with an audience through live stream versus doing it the traditional way of recording and editing and uploading and publishing videos and on YouTube or doing pre-recorded video episodes. And so live streaming is now kind of become something that is a part of the everyday norm that you see people doing. It can be live streaming through a live stream show. It can be in terms of live streaming, in terms of bringing on guests. It could be kind of a live stream in terms of you bringing a group of individuals to come on. Live streaming takes different ways and formats in terms of how it's presented to said audience. And the same could be for podcasting, whether if it's a one-on-one episode, if it's a 2 individuals on a podcast episode. I believe it's important if you're going to do one of the other, you want to be able to have a good, solid understanding and foundation of how you're going to launch your live stream or your podcast show. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And so first tip, whether if it's a live stream or a podcast, let me make sure I get my notes here, is you got to deal with the first tip of before you go live, before you press record for the episode of your podcast. You got to start before, not just spontaneously and just go and get in front of a camera and press and go live, or get in front of a microphone and press recording to start speaking. You need to do some steps before you launch said episode or live stream. And the first part of what you need to do in that process, the before process, is do some research on the topic that you want to discuss. Do some research on the topic that you want to discuss. Why do you want to start with said first episode of this topic? Is this topic going to be a topic that's going to be introducing who you are as a content creator and getting your audience familiar about your YouTube channel or your podcast show? Or is it going to be an episode that's going to be informative for an audience to listen to and to watch live, that will add some value to them, that will answer a specific question or address a particular pain point or an issue in their life? And you have to do some research on said topic. And when you do that research, I believe it should be fundamentally kind of built around what you're passionate about. What is it that you are passionate about as a content creator that you are sharing via live stream or through a podcast episode? It's going to be based upon your passion. Whether if that passion is about relationships and helping, improving, and building the quality of relationship, whether if it's built upon helping to improve your finances and your money to be able to improve the quality of your finances so that you can save more, you can invest more, get out of debt. You need to do your research on what your episode or your live stream is going to be about. If it's going to be about health and improving the quality of your health and helping others to improve the quality of your health, what type of research are you going to do before you go live, before you press record and get in front of the microphone and begin to speak? Unfortunately, too many times, out of our zeal and out of our lack of understanding, we want to get in front of a microphone and begin to speak and share based upon a lot of information that we've gotten from others, but we haven't really digested that information and made it a part of us, where it can transform and change our lives. And then not only with the information, the experience can be accompanied with it. We end up getting in front of a camera and going live for the purpose because we want something out of it at the expense of others, and not understanding that when you go live on a live stream, whether if you have an audience of 2 or whether if you have an audience of 2,000, you've put in set amount of research on a topic that is important to your audience, and not just the audience that is listening to you live in a live stream, but the audience that's going to listen to your content on the replay. So doing your research on your topic and the content ideas that you want to share, and not just on one episode, but the following episodes that will link together with the previous episodes through podcast, or the live streams that will be like almost of like a series of what's going to follow your content that you end up going live. And what's the beauty about this is, whether if it's live streaming or podcasting, as a platform, YouTube gives us the ability to be able to go live and to have our live streams under a live stream tab, or to be able to have it under our podcast tab. And so we have the ability to have our podcast and our live streams, whether if the podcast is just audio by itself, or if it's a video podcast with audio and video, because viewers have the option of consuming whether by audio or by video. Sometimes some viewers will just listen to the audio while the video is playing, but they're listening and consuming more of the audio. So it's important that you do your research. Do your research in terms of the title of your episodes or your live streams that you're doing, and how you want them to be compelling, how you want them to be concise, and most importantly, how you want them to be found in search. So if an individual or people are looking to address a particular pain point or issue in their life, can they be able to search and find your podcast episodes? Can they be able to find your live stream episodes that are now replay episodes that you've done after being live, can they find them because of your title being searchable? Or are you making titles that unfortunately uh, becomes a disconnect where viewers will just keep scrolling on their mobile device? They'll keep scrolling on their YouTube television and HD TV because your your titles unfortunately are not grabbing them. And not only your titles, but it even comes to your packaging of your thumbnails. Because I want you to think about this. When was the last time that when you were on Netflix or Amazon Prime or Hulu, the last time you were on there and you sort of had an idea of what you wanted to watch, but you also wanted to find out what was also on the platform of interest that you may entertain and consider watching, may consider in watching it from an education and informal aspect or from an entertainment standpoint. What ultimately got you to click on said video of content was the video packaging, the thumbnail, if you will, of the video that got you to say, yeah, I want to watch this. Such and such person is in this, whether if it's Jason Straitman, whether if it's Vin Diesel, whether if it's Dwayne The Rock Johnson, whether if it's Will Smith, whether if it's Robert De Niro, whether if it's Al Pacino, whether if it's Barbara Streisand, whether if it's the name that I'm thinking of, if it's going to be a previous episode of Good Times, the packaging is going to be important for said viewer as you to click on to watch it. And you have to do your research on the topic, the titles, and the thumbnails of said episode that you are going to go live and put before your audience. Don't even get caught up in terms of who's going to watch it and who's not going to watch it. YouTube is going to do its part based upon how you titled it and how you packaged it, but you have to do your part in helping the YouTube algorithm get your content in front of the right audience. And that's where research comes in. And then after you do your research, then you move on to designing your thumbnails. Rather, if you're going to design your thumbnails through Canva, in particular Canva Pro, if you're going to use something like one of 10 that helps you through an image generator or Chat GPT, or through Gemini, through what is it called? Man, I can't think of the other image generator, but there's different image generators that can help you design thumbnails. You have to sit down before you record the episode, before you hit the live button. You need to be doing this in the before stage, working on your thumbnail. And then after you've kind of worked on your thumbnails, if it's a live stream or if it's a podcast, putting together a run of show. Now, a run of show is going to be put together, and some people call it a show flow or a run of show. I call it the live stream or podcast GPS. It gives you a destination in what you're trying to go towards. And so you're going to have, with the run of show, in terms of your title, you're going to have your opening hook in terms of why this episode is important to set audience. And then you're going to then hit the go live button if it's a live stream, or you're going to press record and do your intro. Then after you do your intro, you do the greeting of your audience. And then after you've kind of greeted the audience, whether live or through the listeners that are listening on replay, you then get into your 3 to 5 bullet points. And then into those 3 to 5 bullet points, you make opportunity for engagement, whether if that engagement is live or acknowledging those who are listening on the replay. And then you get to your final conclusion, your call to action, and then after your call to action, you bring the episode to a close. You end the broadcast. For the most part, that's a runner show. Now, why is a running show important to put together? It's important because when you're first starting out and doing a live stream or a podcast, if you don't kind of script this thing out so that way there is a flow, then you're not going to have a lot of structure. And if you have a time schedule that you want said episode to be, whether if it's 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or an hour, a runner show is going to help you to have structure, to stay on point, to hit the length of the episode. And if you then veer off or lose your train of thought, you have something to bring you back. Isn't that what a GPS in a car does? When we miss a turn, we miss an exit, it begins to reroute us to get us back on point. Well, that's what why putting together a runner show. A runner show also is going to be important so that way if you have other people working with you who are producing and doing the production aspect of live streams or podcasts, they can follow along with you. And if they see you're veering off, they can help guide you back on point so that way you can complete the episode based upon the time allotment that you've done. Okay, so run a show. Then after doing the run a show, you want to schedule said live stream. If we're dealing with live streams, you want to schedule them and set amount of time based upon and helping with getting notifications and promotions out that when you're going to be live, on what date and what time you're going to go live. Now, if you have more of an established audience and people can expect and you to be consistent on said date and time, and you schedule it 30 minutes to an hour before, then fine. But when you're first starting out and you're trying to establish and build something, you want to schedule enough time for people to make plans, if you will, to say, hey, said person is going to be live on this date, on this time. I can expect this podcast episode to drop on this date around this time. And so the scheduling of your live stream, the scheduling of your podcast is going to help with the success. And again, if it's a live stream, you don't get discouraged based upon who's watching and who's not. You did put enough time in so that way it's going to help the platform with the replay access. Okay. And so scheduling your live stream, you want to then focus on, let's talk about particular live streams. You want to focus on what type of format you're going to live stream. Are you going to be doing just horizontal videos by itself? Or are you going to be doing dual live streaming like we're doing tonight? We're live streaming in vertical on the vertical live feed on YouTube, and we're doing horizontal. So you got to look at the format and what you're going to utilize in promoting your live stream show. Along with the format of the live stream show, you want to look at in terms of are you going to be multi-streaming? Are you going to just be live streaming just to YouTube, which we're just doing tonight? Or are you going to be live streaming to other platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn, or Substack? However you choose to do this or do your podcast, you want to do these things and plan these things before. And then as you're getting into putting together your live stream in your format, you want to make sure that you've completed your description. You want to make sure you have went into said YouTube studios and made all the necessary adjustments on the back end of the content, so that way it is properly optimized. And then you want to schedule, you want to publish said live stream. You want to schedule and publish said live stream. And so that's the beginning part. That's the beginning part. Boom, boom. All right. Okay. Hey, if you're getting great value out of this episode of the huddle tonight, where we're talking about 5 important tips on helping you how to launch your live stream show or podcast show, do me a favor. As you've been watching, click the like button for me, hit that thumbs up, and share this on your favorite social media platform. So, continuing with the before process, you say, with all this information, I'm ready to go. Yeah, well, pump the brakes, pump the brakes. You want to put yourself in the best position so that your live stream, your podcast can get in front of the audience. If you're bringing guests on, it's important, I believe, before you bring a guest on and you sit them in the guest seat and you hit the button to press record to start the episode or to go live, you want to do like a pre-discovery call. Find out about why you brought them on to be a guest, how you both have common interests and goals. Find out about said YouTube channel or other podcasts that they have. Who is their audience, and how can you add value, not just to your audience, but how can you add value to their audience? You want to talk to them about lighting. You want to talk to them about the importance of good audio. You want to talk to them the importance about making sure that they wear headphones during the recording so you can reduce a lot of unnecessary noise and feedback. Making sure that they're in a quiet place, making sure that they have good lighting. Do a research call and then send any other necessary follow-up emails that they need to have in a timely manner. After you sent the necessary follow-up emails, you gather up your guest material that you need, that you're going to be using to share what said viewers, a short bio, a profile picture. Okay. And then you want to create what necessary, if we're live streaming, what necessary scenes you need to have created before you go live. Of course, with podcasting, unless it's video podcasting live, this is not necessary. You want to make sure that you finalize the run of show that we've talked about. Okay. Give your guest that you're bringing on or guests a copy of the run of show so that they can be mindful if the episode of the live stream is going to between 30 to 45 minutes, that when you ask questions to guests or set guests, they can answer and respond according to the run of show, that everyone is on point. And now, if you have a much longer show that you want to do, okay, then you adjust the run of show accordingly. But you want to make sure all parties are on the same page. And that's why finalizing is important. If you're going to use any music, make sure it's royalty free so that you don't have to worry about YouTube hitting you with some type of copyright claim of playing music that you don't have the rights to, rather through the introduction of the opening of the live stream or podcast, or music playing during the podcast or live stream. You want to use royalty-free music. Now, YouTube has a place where you can kind of get music to be able to, that's royalty free. You have Epidemic Sound, you have Creator Mix by Nick and Diggy Niman. Whatever you choose one of those options or others that will help you to be able to have royalty free music so that you don't have to have the headache of going back to re-edit something. Okay, there's nothing frustrating to have a great episode and then you didn't check in terms of the music. And I think it's important also, if you're going to use royalty-free music and you're going to be doing a pairing where they can have the live stream simultaneously on their channel, you want to make sure it doesn't have an impact upon your guest channel where they don't get a copyright claim. in terms of the music playing. So you want to make sure you do your due diligence for royalty-free music. Okay. Promote said live stream or podcast. Okay. We've covered all of this in the first part before you go live. Okay. And then, come on. Let's go over here. Let's get this over here right quick. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Let's talk about it's time to go live. It's time to go live. Now you've did all of this research. You did all of this research. You did all of these things to put it into play. Now it's time to go live. Just like we're live tonight. You're going to check your internet connection, your internet speed. In particular, you want to make sure that you're hardwired. So if you're using something like a StreamYard or a Restream or Ecamm, you want to make sure you're hardwired and you're not depending solely upon the Wi-Fi. Too many times, what can end up disrupting a good quality stream is because people are just solely either on a mobile device, on their laptop or computer, and they are just operating strictly from the Wi-Fi and not realizing that, okay, Missy Ann is in the room using the internet connection for Netflix or Hulu in the room, and their spouse is in the other room and they are using the Wi-Fi, and it's pulling on their bandwidth on being able to have a stable connection. And then as a result, you see your guests dropping off, you see you having issues. So you want to make sure you have checked your internet connections, check audio, make sure that each and every person, whether if it's guest or yourself, you have quality audio. You have a decent microphone. You have audio. You have checked your camera settings. You've not only checked your camera settings, you've checked your lighting. Okay, you checked your stream settings. You got headphones. Okay, guess what? We're at the point that now it's time to get your game face on. It's time to get your game face on so that now you can now go live, hit your opening hook that you put in the run of show. You can then hit the video intro. You can then get into your content, just as we're talking about it tonight. Those of you who are watching this, enjoying this live in the chat, let us know where you're watching us from. Give us a hashtag Team Live. We're talking about 5 important tips on how to launch your live stream or your podcast episode. Okay, you're getting into your content. You're bringing on your guest. And as you bring on your guest, you get into their short bio and about who they are. You engage your audience, and now you are live. You're live. Okay, you're live. You get into your points that you want to discuss. You engage your audience throughout the stream. Have a Q&A session that you're going to have to answer any questions or respond to comments. Okay. Maybe you want to have the type of live stream show if you want to bring guests from the live chat. You want to have a structured way that you can bring people on in a safe and productive way, that you're bringing the right type of people on who genuinely want help from your live stream show. Now, from a live stream, of course, now from a podcast, that's not something you can do. Then after that, you get into your final thoughts. You share your call to action. You hit your outro music. You end the broadcast, or you hit the stop button on the record for the podcast episode. Okay, you end the broadcast, and then after you've ended your broadcast, the live stream or podcast doesn't end there. You don't just move on to the next episode of your podcast. If you're trying to do a series, you don't just go live on the next live stream in 48 to 72 hours. No, there's still work to do. You need to optimize the set piece of content that was done through live streaming or podcast. You want to optimize it. You want to optimize if it's a live stream, make sure you have your YouTube chapters put in that makes a more easier viewing experience for your replay audience so that if they need to stop at a certain point, the YouTube chapters will help them go back to set point. Or if they need to skip ahead because they know certain things that you talked about in your episode, they've kind of got that down, but they need to skip ahead. So you want to optimize and put YouTube chapters. You want to add the additional links that are necessary, especially if you have guests, on the best way they can contact said guests, what's the best place they can reach them, what social media, what offers that they may have that they may need to have access to. So you add any additional links, you pin a comment in the comment section that kind of highlights an important thought or feedback from the audience, or again, one of the links that you need to post so that replay viewers can go to the next episode or click on the next video that's tied to this one that will keep them watching more of your content. All of this is important before you end up going to episode number 33, before you jump and go to live stream number 9. Make sure you have it optimized. Pin your comment, set your end screen, set your end cards. And then if you've collaborated with other YouTube content creators, share the ability where they can collaborate and have the episode on their channel. Okay? Share your replay in the necessary places you feel necessary. If you have an email list that you can share your replay, or on your website, share your replay. Okay. And then you want to repurpose your content. Repurpose your content, whether through shorts or reels. Okay. Shorts or reels. You want to repurpose it from a long form aspect through horizontal videos. You want to download your audio if necessary. So if this is just a live stream, but you are doing a separate audio podcast, it gives you the ability to download your audio. Like StreamYard gives me the ability to download my audio. And then I can then turn it into said podcast episode. If I need the transcript, again, StreamYard, link in the description. If you are looking for a live streaming software that gives you these features, link is in the description, but you can be able to download the transcript. You can then create said newsletter to help you putting together a newsletter. You can then put together social media posts. All of this is a part of repurposing. But one important tip that I want you to take away from the repurposing aspect: make sure you save your content. Save your content. Back your content up so that way, whether if it's on the cloud, through Google, or through a hard drive, save your content so that way you can use it at a later date. Okay? Hey, if you're getting great episode, if you're getting great value, that's what I wanted to say, out of this episode on how to launch your live stream show or podcast, do me a favor, click that like button. Those of you who are in the chat watching me live, I want to say hi to those who are leaving a hi or just, saying hello. Bonjour. I had a bonjour in here. I had a hello. Hello to those of you who have been popping in the chat. Click that like button for me. Hit that thumbs up for me. Share this on your favorite social media platform. And if you haven't had an opportunity yet, please subscribe to The Huddle, where it's our goal, our value proposition, to help working class content creators like yourself to grow your channel, get more views, make money online. So love for you to subscribe to the channel. Let's get into some common mistakes when trying to start a live stream show. If you go on YouTube, You see Stephen A. Smith has a live stream show. Draymond Green has a live stream show. These are a lot of people that I have on my YouTube homepage that I see. I see The Pivot with Ryan Clark and his crew. I see Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson with All the Smoke. I see other type of episode podcasts that are more entertainment, more maybe for family related purposes. You got Joe Rogan. Okay, you have Think Media from a YouTube standpoint, Roberto Black, all these different podcasts. So how are you going to compete? How are you going to stand out? Well, I think there's some common mistakes you need to be aware of when you're launching your live stream, when you are launching your podcast that you need to avoid. The first one is going live or pressing record without a plan. All goes back to what we talked about in the beginning, doing your research. If you don't have a plan, what you're basically doing is planning to fail. Say that again. If you don't do your research and if you don't put your homework in, if you don't plan this out and put a running show together, what you're doing is you're planning to fail, and you're planning so that your episodes, your live streams won't be successful in getting in front of the right audience. YouTube is a very crowded platform. Over 20 million videos and pieces of content are uploaded every day. So when you plan, when you don't plan, what you're doing is you're planning to fail. So that's a big number one mistake. Number two mistake is ignoring your audio quality. Ignoring your audio quality. When you ignore your audio quality, especially from a video or podcast aspect, a lot of viewers and listeners can tolerate a lot of things if the lighting's kind of bad, if the video speed is slow. But when you start getting into poor quality audio over a period of time, they'll try to hang in, but after a while, they're going to drop off and they're going to leave. And so when you ignore your audio quality, you're making a big mistake and you're causing your episodes not to be viewed and listened to. And so it's important to have an external quality microphone. Do you have to buy the top of the line Shure M7 microphone and spend $400? No, there's some quality microphones like the ATR Audio Technica microphone I've had for over 6 years. I think this is my second one, but I've had at least two for 6 years. It gives me good quality audio. This is not sponsored by the Huddle, but it gives me quality audio. So don't use the external microphone of your laptop or your phone. Buy a lavalier if you're going to be doing a podcast through your phone. A lavalier microphone or an external microphone, USB plug-in. Don't ignore the quality of your audio. Wear headphones. You know, I'm quite sure you've watched episodes where the guest audio quality is at the acceptable level where it needs to be, but the host doesn't have good audio quality. They don't even have headphones on. And as a result, as a viewer, as a listener, you tap out and say, nah, this is just too much to endure. I gotta move on. This is really creating a poor experience for me as the listener. So making sure you have not ignoring audio quality. Another mistake is not engaging the audience. Now, I try to my best sometimes to pull up comments, but if I can't pull up the comments in this situation where I'm kind of going through a large portion of content that I want to get out and share and at a particular time allotment, I will acknowledge the comments as I see and shout them out. As people come in and out and say hello, like the person that says bonjour, 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 bonjour. So engaging your audience, starting late. If you're a live streamer and you said you're going to be going live on Tuesday night, um, and you're going to be live at 8 p.m., and your audience is waiting and waiting and waiting, and you don't pop up to 9 o'clock, you do that enough, you're going to lose viewers. And I'm not just talking about the new person that's trying to do a live stream show. I'm not talking about the new person who's been on the platform for about 3 months. I'm talking about big established content creators. I'm not going to say no names. I'm not naming no names, but on more than one occasion I'll go to said content creator. He said he's going live at 7 p.m. and he don't pop up to 9 p.m. I'll be like, come on, bro. And then you want to live stream for 4 hours when you're 2 hours late? Big mistake. Big mistake. Don't make that mistake when you're starting out doing a live stream or a podcast show to your viewers. Respect your viewers' time. If you put the notification out, you're going live, and you want YouTube to push the notification. You've scheduled it. You've promoted through social media. Be respectful to your viewers' time. Which brings me to another point. Making the mistake of having a long intro. I don't even think I have this on here as one of the mistakes, but having a long intro. Again, if your viewers watching a live stream, we're not talking about podcasting, but if your viewers have took the time to show up on time, that you said you're going to be live at 7 p.m. and you got a long 5-minute intro, and they're sitting there watching you kind of make faces, or you having a conversation with your guest, and they can see this, and the clock is ticking. Come on, man. Come on. Make it make sense. Big mistake. So you don't need a long intro. If you have to have an intro, the argument is, well, I want to give YouTube, the algorithm, the opportunity to send the notifications that I'm live so people can come and let me, know that I'm live. No. What about the viewers who showed up? What about those that showed up and have been waiting? I'm going to move on. All right. So starting late, having no call to action. You share your content and you engage the audience, and you provide no call to action that gives your viewers or your listeners the next steps that they need to have a part of their viewer journey and experience that will help to improve the quality of their life. This is a common mistake. A lot of new content creators who are starting a live stream show, because they've been inspired, they've been motivated by watching others who are now doing podcasts, pre-recorded episodes on their YouTube channels or live streams, going live, and they're inspired to want to do it themselves. But you got to have a call to action. Rather, if that call to action is to simply ask them to like the video. But those of you who are watching me live, by you simply hitting the like button, what you're saying to YouTube is you feel that this is a great piece of content that you have listened to for a certain amount of time, that I said something that of great value to you, that you say, yeah, I like that. And you're telling YouTube that this is some good quality content, and they need to keep this stream pushed for new viewers to find. But when you don't provide that call to action, and you just have a live stream for 45 minutes to 2 hours, and you have 30, you're fortunate enough to have 30 viewers, but you only got 5 likes. That's a big mistake. In not providing a call to action. Okay, where am I at? Call to action. Ending the stream abruptly. Ending too soon. Ending your podcast episode too soon. That's a mistake you have to avoid. Um, then not reviewing your content after you've did everything, you've optimized, you repurpose. I think you should take the time to review your content. Go back and listen to it. Go back and watch it. The reason why I think that's important because athletes, the successful ones who want to not just be an athlete or a star of a sport, they want to be an all-star. They don't just want to be an all-star, they want to be a superstar. An all-star or a superstar of said sport studies film. They study film of themselves, of the game that they're trying to improve, and they study film of the opponents that they have to engage with, whether directly or indirectly. Whether if the opponent likes to go right with the ball or like they like to go left, whether they like to run this route, going right or going up the middle. They study film. And as content creators, we should be doing the same thing when it comes to improving the quality of our live streams and our podcast episodes. Now, I'm talking more about in terms of not just in terms of the amount of views you get versus the amount of views you don't get, the amount of subscribers you have versus how many subscribers someone else. I'm talking about you just going back and watching and listening to your own content so you can become better. You can develop skills. How can I work better on my opening hook? Let me go back and listen to the first few minutes of the opening of the live stream of said podcast. How can I keep viewers watching and engaging in the live stream longer? And people providing feedback and engagement on the replay of the podcast. Go back and listen to it. All of this is important for you to have a successful live stream or podcast episode. Hey, if you've gotten great value out of this episode, do me a favor. Click the like button for me. Hit that thumbs up. If you're new to the huddle, share this on your favorite social media platform. That's the content tonight that we wanted to share. I see comments that have been coming in throughout the stream. I just want to see who we got here. Okay, we acknowledge that person who said, I don't see any new ones here. Nope. Don't see any new other comments. But that's the content tonight. The train is now arriving into the station. So I want to thank each and every one of you for taking some time out your schedule to watch the huddle. And so we're going to go ahead and bring this episode to a close as soon as I find, there we go. Yeah, there we go. And so my call to action to you as you embark on starting your live stream show, your podcast episode, start with doing your research. So that way you can be able to put together a great podcast, a great live stream that will truly add value, if not to 100 people, but just one person. And when you get that feedback from that one person that this was a great episode, you know you're on your way to putting together a show, whether with yourself, by yourself, or with guests, that's going to improve the quality of your viewers and your listeners' life. Hey, we will see you on Friday, 8 p.m. here on The Huddle. God bless.